Hey everybody, so I am not wearing any makeup, I'm not dressed, I'm not anything. I'm about to have a shower to get ready for my sister-in-law's birthday party or dinner. But I thought I would do something a little special. That's one of these little things. So I'm out of the shower and let me tell you, that was the quickest I've ever washed my hair, while having blonde hair anyway, ever. I just wanted to get out and have a look. Show everybody your shirt, darling. What does it say? It says, this superhero is getting his own sidekick. What does that mean? Does that mean Mummy's having a baby? Does that mean you get a brother or sister? Did you read it?
Holy crap.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and I'm just going to apologise straight away for the echoiness that is going on in this video. This is Lewis's room, and at the moment there's not really that much left in here. There's not really that much in here. There's a change table and a cot, and then his cupboards and the chair I'm sitting on, and his rocking chair, but all over and wooden floors, so there's not much to soak up the noise, the echoiness, so I'm very sorry for that. But this room at the moment has the best lighting and is the cleanest, let's be honest. So yeah, I'm sorry about the echoiness. There's nothing I can do apart from change room, but I don't want to, and it's got a comfy chair. But yeah, I am here with my labour and delivery story, as you can tell from the title below. So this here is little Lewis. This here is Louie. So to start off with, yeah, this is Lewis Wolf Millward. Lewis is just a name that we both like. Wolf is my husband's step granddad's last name, so for as long as he knew his nanny, whatever he called her, for as long as he knew his nanny, he knew her as a Wolf, not a Millward, so we went with Lewis Wolf Millward. So it's got both last names in there, so that's where that came from. So I wasn't copying Temmie Hembrow, is that how you say her last name? I wasn't copying Temmie with Wolf. It's like a significant family name. Although I would have really loved to call him Wolf as his first name, but we just went with Lewis because it's such a cute name, I reckon. And sorry if my lips look concealed lips, like looking in the viewfinder and they look like they're concealed lips, but I swear they're a little bit darker than what they're showing off. So I hope that doesn't annoy anybody, but if it does, just click out. But anyway, yeah, so his name is Lewis Wolf Millward. He was born on the 18th of the 2nd, no! He was born on the 18th of the 1st, 2017. We were aiming for the 17th of the 1st, 2017. That would have went really well, but we went with the 18. So next year will be 18/1/18. So yeah, 18th of the 1st, 2017. He weighed £7 12 ounces. He was 53 centimeters long. Head circumference was 34 centimeters, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, I think. But anyway, and he was born at 2:44, I think. I'm so bad, I've forgotten so much. Yeah, he was born at 2:44 a.m. and yeah, so let's get into the story. So I went in for my last midwife appointment on the Monday, which was the 16th. And that was at my exact 40 weeks plus 1, because I'm 40. My week started on Sunday, so I was 40 plus 1. Went in there and she gave me the check over, checked my heart rate, checked the baby's heart rate, checked everything, and she asked if I wanted to stretch and sweep. I said yes, because I didn't want to go too far over with Caleb, and then like I did with Caleb, I was 41 weeks with Caleb. But I didn't want to go over with this one and risk having to have an induction, because if that happened, I wouldn't be able to be in the bath and have a water birth. So I wanted to try and get it as close to my due date without not having to go for an induction. So we got a stretch and sweep done at 40 plus 1. And then David took me for a walk. I think David and my mum both took me for a walk around Bunnings, and I went for a walk with my mum. We tried to just get it going with the stretch and sweep and the walking. We're just trying to walk and walk and walk and try and get my body to go into natural labour. Or spontaneous labour, as midwives call it. And then I started getting pains and that, but I've been having contractions for the last like 2-3 weeks in the pregnancy, or like for the last month. So I wasn't sure if these contractions were true contractions or if they were a bit more than Braxton Hicks. So I was just, you know, just going with the flow really. So Monday afternoon, Monday night, I started having some pretty decent contractions. But at that point I still wasn't saying, because they weren't consistent and they weren't getting close together. But then Tuesday morning when I woke up, so the 17th, I noticed at 7 o'clock I woke up, and I woke up to having pretty strong contractions. They still weren't super strong, but they were a lot stronger than what they were the night before or the day before, and I was convinced I was in labour that day. So we had some breakfast, went on with our day, went and dropped Caleb off at David's parents because I thought today was the day I was going to go into labour. I was going to have the baby, sorry. So we dropped Caleb off. By the time we got back, it was about 1 o'clock from dropping Caleb off. And then it got to about, I just laboured at home and just walked around home and just sat on the on the exercise ball and that, just tried to, you know, get Lewis down further and pushing on my cervix and whatnot. Because when I went for my stretch and sweep, I was 1 centimetre and I was 50% effaced, I think. So my cervix had thinned 50%. So my midwife wanted me to try and bounce up and down and do lots of walking to try and get his head to push down the cervix to thin it out even more, so then it would bring on contractions. But anyways, back to Tuesday. So I was on the ball, I was just sitting down on my laptop watching YouTube, watching beauty videos, watching everything, watching Netflix, just trying to relax, and then up and down on the ball, getting up and walking back and forth. And then it got to 4 o'clock and I was like, right, David, we're going to go for a walk. It wasn't too hot that day because for the days before that we had a heat wave, so it was stinking hot. So Tuesday wasn't bad, it was actually really nice. So we went out to, there's a park down near us, and we walked for an hour around the lake. By the time we got back, it was about 6:30. We didn't walk the whole hour and a half, but by the time we got back to the house it was 6:30. Oh, you doing squeaky noises. And then we had dinner, whatnot, and then it was 7 that my established labour started. After we got back from the walk and we started cooking dinner, the contractions got so intense. Not like end of the labour intense, but I definitely knew it was going to happen in the next few hours. So yeah, the contractions started getting close together. At this point they were about 5 minutes apart, and they were lasting between 30 and 45 seconds. Some less, some more, but around about that on average. And then it got to 9:30 and I had so many strong ones. They were lasting for about 1.5 minutes and going for and having about 4 minutes in between. So I called my midwife and let her know, and she asked if I could just stay at home for a little bit longer, just because just so we could both try and rest at home, like she could rest, and just so I could try and labour as long as I could at home, because it's more relaxing being at home than what it would be at a hospital, and it's easier to calm yourself. But I stayed at home for about another 1.5 hours, and then we went to the hospital, so it was about 11:30 at this point. By the time we got into the birthing centre room and I see my midwife, it was about midnight, and the contractions still hadn't changed from that actually. Like, they were still 3.5 to 4 minutes apart and about a minute 30 duration. She checked me out and I was 4 centimeters, and I'm extremely happy with this at this point, because with Caleb I went to the hospital and I was only 2 centimeters dilated, and then 5 hours later I was 4 centimeters. So at this point I had laboured a long time at home, in my opinion, because I rushed to the hospital. Not rushed, but I went to the hospital a lot sooner than I should have. And with Lewis, I could have lasted a bit longer at home, but I still didn't do too bad, and I was 4 centimeters, so I was pretty happy with that. I was almost halfway. After that internal and checking how dilated I was, she asked if I wanted to stretch it out again and see if it could help move it along even further, and I said yes, because you know, any progress is progress. So she pushed it out, you know, she stretched it and sweeped it as much as she could, and then after that I went for a shower. I was in the shower for about half an hour, so at this point it's 12:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So I got out of the shower, and in the shower my contractions started getting so intense. I could no longer sit on the exercise ball and bounce through them and just try and rock through them. I had to stand up, and I was on my tippy toes, you know, going back and forth each foot, and I was just, oh, they were super intense, and they were coming pretty often. So yeah, half an hour ago the showers, and I'm just trying to be on the end of the bed, you know, leaning over the bed and just rocking back and forth through contractions. And at this point they are coming. As soon as I got out of the shower and I dried off and got myself dressed, they were coming like there was 30 seconds in between each contraction. They were super intense at this point. So my mum called my midwife in. So Julie came in and she said, right, let's hop in the bath, because they were right on top of each other, and she said that's the point we want to be in the bath, so they can't slow down. So we got in the bath, and I was in the bath for a good hour and a half, and it was so relaxing, so good. But then it's just the pain. Like, a lot of women do end up vomiting when they're in labour because of the pain and the body's way of coping with it. So I ended up vomiting, and then after I vomited, I started losing control a bit. I wasn't loud, and I wasn't screaming, I wasn't swearing, I wasn't yelling at anyone, but I just started getting really emotional. And when I'm in pain, I cope with it by crying, like labour pains, like that kind of pain. I just cry when I lose control. So yeah, I'd rather cry and be emotional than scream and yell and get cranky at everybody. So I was just getting really emotional. I was starting to lose it, and I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. And that's normal. Everyone gets to that point where they just want to lose control. They have to lose control. They feel like they cannot do it anymore. So I was at that point. My midwife said, "Stacey, do you want to get out?" Because at this point my water still hadn't broken. So she's like, "Stacey, do you want to get out? I'll give you another internal, see how far you're along, and break your waters." And I was just like, yes, please. I was so sad. So I got out, and as soon as I got out, I was like, oh, it's so freezing cold. So they wrapped me up in blankets and all that, and I'm just like, hopped on the bed, and I was a shaking little mess because I was crying and I was emotional and I was cold and everything was horrible. But I was still enjoying the whole thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it was painful, but I absolutely love labour. So I hopped on the bed, she checked me, and I was 7 centimeters. So I was just like, in an hour and a half I've gone 3 centimeters. That is absolutely great. So she broke my waters, and as soon as she broke my waters, like, there was a lot of amniotic fluid, like a lot of fluid, like he was swimming in it. She broke my waters, and there was so much fluid came out straight away. My contractions did not stop from there. My whole plan was to get back in the bath and do a water birth, because that's what I had always wanted from Caleb's pregnancy to this one. I'd always wanted a water birth, and I will do a water birth next time. After she broke my water, I could not move off that bed. Like, I felt like if I moved, I would just fall on the ground, because my legs were weak at that point. Everything was shaking. I was emotional. I had to hold on to David. I could not let go of him. I was just trying to cuddle his arm. I had him laying next to me on the double bed. I was just like, ugh. I could not move off that bed. As much as I really wanted to get back in that bath, I could not. Like, physically I felt like I could not move because I was just too exhausted. I was shaking. My legs were like sore from the pain and everything. So from the point she broke my waters, it was 2:37, sorry. At 2:37 she broke my waters, and in a matter of 7 minutes I had gone from 7 centimeters to giving birth. So in 7 minutes I went 3 centimeters and pushed out a baby in 7 minutes. I was pretty happy with that, because Caleb, I was pushing for 45 minutes nearly, and Lewis, I was pushing for less than 7 minutes. So that was pretty intense at that point. I was surprised. It's TMI, but it's pregnancy, it's a labour video, so you're gonna hear this anyway. But I didn't tear, I didn't graze, I didn't do any of that. And I put that down to being in the bath for like the hour and a half beforehand, and it really softened everything up. So I'm guessing that's why I didn't tear, but I didn't tear or graze with Caleb either, but I had a hot compression on there. So yeah, I Was super happy with that. And then another 5 or 6 minutes after that, placenta came out. Yeah, 4 hours later we got to go home because I was in the birthing center room. They don't keep you in, they don't admit you into the hospital, into the ward anyway. So yeah, I got to go home at 7:15. So I was like, yay! So 2 minutes after I had him, he had latched on and started feeding. I had my rubella and the injection full of placenta for it to come away from the uterus wall. So while I was feeding him, I pushed out the placenta, all that jazz. It stopped pulsating before we had cut it as well. And yeah, so we got to go home at 7:15. So that was on the Wednesday, on the same day he was born. Since then, he is now 5 kilos, so it's 5 kilos. He's now 5 weeks, so it's gone on quite a while since I gave birth. He has put on 1 kilo from birth. The first day he slept all day and fed once. He had 3 feeds at the hospital, but when we left and we went to bed, he slept the whole day nearly. And then that night too he slept, and it was so amazing. After that initial night, he started to get his nights mixed up with days, so he's sleeping more through the day and sleeping less at night, or feeding more at night. But we soon worked that out, and now he feeds mostly through the day and he sleeps most of the night. At the moment, he's having 2 feeds a night. Last feed at night is 10 o'clock, and then he wakes up in the morning. Like this morning it was 2 and then 7, 2 and then 5, and then he woke up at 8. So that's pretty good. So he is, compared to Caleb, he is like a dream baby. He sleeps so well, he eats really well. I haven't had any problem producing milk with Caleb. I had nothing, like I literally had nothing by 4 weeks. He would drink and drink and drink and nothing. Like there was absolutely nothing there. But yeah, that is my video of my labour and delivery of little Lewis Wolf Millward. But that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!